What is going on, guys? It is Wrestlelamia here, back with another video. Now, Extreme Rules is just days away, so what can fans expect on Smackdown to hype the show? Well, join us now as we look at this week's edition of Smackdown, as well as the wildest wrestling news stories and rumors you need to know, including Fox upset with WWE over Smackdown, another WWE Superstar is unhappy, a big botch on Smackdown, and much more. Be sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell for daily wrestling videos, and follow us on Facebook for exclusive lists. As always, we won't recap the show, but just provide you with the good, the bad, and the downright ugly. As always, we start off with the good as number 1, main event Montez. Our fans will remember the 24th September as the night a single star was born when Montez Ford squared off against Universal Champion Roman Reigns in a match that shows Ford is no longer a diamond in the rough. Ford demonstrated that he's much more than a tag team star, and the WWE would do very well by giving him a singles push for next year. That's not to say Angelo Dawkins is the team's Marty Jannetty, but Ford proved last night that he's more deserving of a singles push. A credit to WWE for using Roman Reigns in a way that had to surprise fans. The Tribal Chief had some excellent matches of late, matches that not only make him look good, but elevate his opponent. It's a fine line to walk, especially with the WWE wanting to book Reigns strongly. While it was obvious the WWE wanted to show the bloodline softening Ford up for the Street Profits title match against the Usos at Extreme Rules, or even take him out of the match, it provided a showcase for Ford's ability as a singles wrestler, and of course built up the hype for the Demon vs Reigns bout. Number 2, a classic closeout. Now, as good as the Ford vs Reigns match was, fans knew it was also a way to hype the Roman Reigns vs Demon match at Extreme Rules. And as expected, the Demon showed up to prevent Montez Ford from getting annihilated by the Bloodline. Having the Demon stand tall at the end of the show was the right move because fans know he won't be standing after his Extreme Rules match against Universal Champion Reigns. Number 3, utilizing the women well. This week saw the WWE actually spend time utilizing its women's division, and dare we say it, used them well, with segments and matches to build up the pay-per-view and, surprisingly, even furthering storylines that aren't scheduled for the pay-per-view. They managed to fit in a remarkable number of segments with its female superstars, including a showdown between Bianca Belair and Becky Lynch, Zelina Vega scoring a tainted win against Liv Morgan, and they set the stage for Sonya Deville's in-ring return, and a match between women's tag team champion Nikki Ash and former champion Natalya. Their fans didn't know better. They think the WWE actually cares about its women's division. Number 4, less is more. And once again, Smackdown decided to take the less is more approach with its matchmaking, giving fans a small number of matches but making every match mean something. Now, this isn't the first time that Smackdown has gone with a quality over quantity approach to booking the blue brand, but it appears it may be a good formula to adopt. Wrestling fans expect to be entertained from start to finish, something Smackdown has been doing more and more of every week. And finally, good promos. Last night, Smackdown suggested that the WWE is finally remembering the power of promos. Without starting an AEW versus WWE debate, AEW has shown that promos can be entertaining in their own right and a tremendous technique for advancing storylines and matches. Last night's Smackdown included some thrilling talk segments, whether it was Seth Rollins' portentous promo against Edge, Happy Corbin putting himself over, the interaction between Bella and Lynch, or Naomi calling out Sonya Deville and Deville dressing her down. The WWE needs to continue working on teaching its wrestlers how to cut promos, as promos are an effective tool, especially as they can be used instead of endless rematches between wrestlers. But that was the good. What about the bad? Is number 1, not much of a go-home show. Last night's Smackdown was a solid episode, but as good as it was, it didn't seem like a go-home show that would have fans eager to watch Extreme Rules. Only the main event, perhaps. Perhaps it's just a case that it has a captive audience and that fans who subscribe to Peacock for the WWE Network are gonna watch the show no matter what. While it may sound like a case of overconfidence by the WWE, the reality is although Smackdown has maintained its audience, it's not growing an audience, which means the blue brand is unlikely to do anything to bring in non-WWE fans. And number 2, no Nakamura pay-per-view match. And we hope Liv Morgan fans will excuse us, but why is Morgan getting a pay-per-view match while the Intercontinental Champion is off the card? Nakamura, one of WWE's best workers, has been enjoying a career resurgence thanks to his push, as well as the presence of Rick Boogs. Every pay-per-view needs 1 or 2 matches that focus on work rate, and Nakamura is the perfect wrestler for this. They could have had him wrestle any number of opponents ranging from recent champion Apollo Crews to other contenders like Sami Zayn or even Seth Rollins. Now, of course, there was no Downright Ugly. It was another strong episode of Smackdown that reminded fans of how the Blue Brand's creative team knows how to book a strong 2-hour show on a regular basis. If Paul Heyman is the person responsible for this, WWE needs to have its writers learn from him and send him over to Raw. Unfortunately, we believe Smackdown is a better show not only for Heyman's ideas, but due to Heyman's willingness to stand up to Vince McMahon, something no one else in the WWE's creative department seems willing to do. What did you guys think of Smackdown last night? Let us know in the comments down below. Now let's move on to the news. Our first story looks at Fox officials upset with WWE about Smackdown. Now, topping the news today are the rumors that executives from Fox are unhappy about Smackdown, something which could have considerable consequences for the WWE. Fightful Select is reporting Fightful has reached out to several close to the WWE Fox relationship after being told in July that the relationship between the two sides was strained. According to Fightful, Fox officials are unhappy with Smackdown's ratings. Wrestling News' Paul Davis pointed out that when Fox first made the deal with WWE, Meltzer reported at the time that the network was expecting somewhere around 3.3 million viewers. WWE drew 3.9 million viewers for their debut broadcast that featured The Rock, but they have not come close to that since then, and they usually hover somewhere around 2 million viewers. Now, in regards to the ratings, there are rumors that Fox has given the WWE some latitude due to the pandemic, but that could be changing. There are also rumors circulating in the TV industry that advertisers may be making a substantial change with how it measures what shows are worth paying to air commercials on. This includes talk of the 18 to 49 demographic losing some of its significance, with advertisers looking at all-round viewing numbers. However, ratings aren't the only issues that have been mentioned as far as Fox possibly souring on its business relationship with WWE. A second issue is that some in Fox are upset that Smackdown is used to promote rival NBC Universal's Peacock streaming service, which of course airs WWE pay-per-views. However, this report is being disputed. As Ringside News noted, it should be noted that Fox and WWE sources noted that it hasn't been an issue. However, it was also mentioned that one WWE source indicated that if there were names at Fox that wanted the pay-per-view content, they could have paid the premium that Peacock did for it. Next up, Tony Khan takes another shot at WWE. Now, there's some bold comments from AEW President Tony Khan to promote AEW's recent Grand Slam show. Khan tweeted the following prior to AEW Rampage Grand Slam airing: "Thank you for making AEW Dynamite the #1 show on cable for the past 5 Wednesdays. AEW Rampage Grand Slam is on TNT tonight. It's an incredible card tonight. It's our most star-studded 2-hour TV ever, with CM Punk's return to television wrestling and so many big stars and big matches." Now, Tony made an interesting point about AEW's success so far, once again drawing on the statement by the WWE when the Wednesday night war between NXT and Dynamite began. 2 years, our competitors said that this is a marathon, not a sprint. They were right. They've also had a head start of 40 years in it. 2 years in, we've made up more ground from scratch than anyone in the wrestling industry. Let's effing go tonight. Let's make AEW Rampage #1 on cable tonight. Now, Khan is definitely feeling confident following AEW's recent signings of CM Punk and Bryan Danielson, its success with Dynamite edging Raw in the 18 to 49 demographics for 2 weeks, and the record numbers for its recent all-out pay-per-view. However, is Khan getting confident or merely doing what any wrestling promoter does, utilize hyperbole to get his company over? What do you guys think? Let us know in the comments down below. Next up, a WWE star unhappy. Now, adding Lindsay Dorado to the list of disgruntled WWE superstars, as PW Insider is reporting that Dorado's Lucha House Party tag team partner Gran Metalik isn't the only person dismayed by how the WWE is using them. The news site reports that both members of the Lucha House Party have been observed at TV tapings asking to talk to WWE officials about how they aren't being used. Now, you'll likely recall an earlier report that Gran Metalik asked for his WWE release, although it still remains to be seen if he'll get it. And finally, a huge botch on Smackdown. Last but not least, Montez Ford had some table trouble on Smackdown during his match with Roman Reigns. Now, we're not referring to Ford getting put through a table after the match, but a spot during the bout where he attempted to climb the announcer's table only to have it collapse immediately. Now, Pat McAfee covered very well, but it's not the first time a gimmick table has no-sold for a wrestler, and it probably won't be the last, even though it exposes the business. But there you have it, guys, the good, the bad, and the downright ugly of this week's Smackdown, as well as the wildest news stories and rumors you need to know. Be sure to leave your comments down below, and I'll see you next time with some more wrestling content.